All right, ready? Kevin, you ready? All right. Good morning, everyone. I hereby convene the November 3rd, 2025 hearing of the Santa Barbara County Zoning Administrator. My name is Linda Liu, and I'll be the zoning administrator for today's hearing, and Mr. Jonathan Martin will be clerking. This hearing will be conducted under the provisions of the Ralph M. Brown Act, Open Meeting Law, as well as the provisions of California Planning Law and the Santa Barbara County Code. We have 3 items on today's agenda. The clerk will read each item into the record, and I will announce any ex parte communications. I will then get comments from the case planner, followed by the applicant or the applicant's agent, and then I will get comments from the public. Anyone who wishes to testify should submit a speaker slip, or if testifying remotely, should use your raise hand feature. All right, the first portion of our agenda is for the general public comment. This period gives the public an opportunity to comment on matters that are not on today's agenda. Mr. Martin, do we have any requests to speak on this?
We have received no requests to speak, and we have one person in our attendees column. If you'd like to make a public comment on an item not on today's agenda, please raise your hand. Okay. No requests to speak for public comment.
All right, thank you very much. We'll go ahead and close out the general public comment. Mr. Martin, I think we're ready to proceed.
Okay, we'll begin with item 1, 25 COC-00001, The Orchard, Georgie. Hearing on the request of Stanton Georgie, applicant to consider the following case number 25 COC-00001 and to determine the project is exempt from the California Environmental Quality Act, CEQA, pursuant to section 15305, minor alterations in land use limitations.
Thank you very much, Mr. Martin. I do not have any ex parte communications to announce. Mr. De Los Santos, are you ready to proceed? All right.
Good morning, Ms. Liu. My name is Kevin De Los Santos. I'm presenting the proposed Orchard Conditional Certificate of Compliance project. The project site is a property located adjacent to Hollister Avenue and Ward Drive in the Eastern Galeta Valley Community Plan area. The project site is zoned Agriculture 1 and is located within the inland area of the county. The project site is currently used for orchards and row crops and contains no structural development. The project is a request for a conditional certificate of compliance to validate a 64.29 acre lot that is considered property that is the remainder of a subdivision of land by a government agency. A portion of the lot was condemned to the state of California in 1961 for Highway 217, and 2 portions of the lot were conveyed to the county of Santa Barbara in 1963 and 1978 for road purposes to Hollister Avenue. Pursuant to County Code Chapter 21, the Land Division Chapter, conditional COC is required to validate property that is remainder of land by a government agency. The applicant submitted the proposed conditional certificate of compliance in April of this year. Staff coordinated with applicable departments, County Fire, Environmental Health, and Public Works Transportation all had no comments or conditions for the project. The project is consistent with all applicable policies and development standards of the Land Use and Development Code, the Comprehensive Plan, and the Land Division Chapter. The project is exempt from environmental review under CEQA pursuant to the minor alterations in land use limitations exemption. Staff recommends that you take the following actions. Make the required findings for approval, determine that the project is exempt from environmental review, and approve the project. This concludes my presentation. I'm available for questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. De Los Santos. Mr. Martin, do we have any requests to speak on this?
If anybody would like to make a comment on this item, please raise your hand in the chat. Seeing none, and we have no other requests to speak for this item.
Thank you very much. Is the applicant or the applicant's agent here or virtually? All right, thank you very much. So then I will just ask you, Mr. De Los Santos, I assume you've talked to the applicant and the agent regarding the conditions of approval,
Correct, yes.
and they have no objections.
No objections.
All right. Just as a follow-up question, this project seems relatively straightforward. Just out of curiosity, your staff report did mention that if it was any other situation, you may be applying special conditions. Just curious what those conditions would be.
Correct. Yeah, had the subdivision been an illegal subdivision where a property owner may have split their lot without permits and created a residentially developable lot, we would work with other departments, and fire or EHS may have condition letters that apply their current fire access standards or septic requirements, and then P&D staff may apply conditions pertaining to development envelopes or bio or community plan policies that we would condition the project to be applicable to. But in this case, it was just a remainder of land and no new lot was created. So no special conditions are recommended by us.
Great. Thank you very much, Mr. De Los Santos. I don't have any further questions on this project. Like I said, it seems relatively straightforward, so I'll go ahead and close out the public hearing for this item. And I will make the required findings for approval as specified in attachment A of the staff report, including the CEQA findings. I do determine that this project is exempt from CEQA pursuant to CEQA guidelines section 15305, as outlined in the notice of exemption included as attachment C of the staff report. And I approve this project, case number 25 COC 00001, subject to the conditions of approval included as attachment B of the staff report. Thank you very much, Mr. De Los Santos.
Okay, we'll move on to item 2, 23 CUP-0005, AT&T Tier 3A Telecom Facility at Cathedral Oaks Road. Hearing on the request of Jerry Ambrose, agent for the applicant AT&T Mobility, to consider the following. Case number 23 CUP-00005, and to determine the project is exempt pursuant to section 15303 of the state guidelines for implementation of the California Environmental Quality Act.
Thank you very much, Mr. Martin. I do not have any ex parte communications to announce. Ms. King, are you ready to proceed?
Yes.
All right, you're on.
Good morning, Ms. Liu. My name is Veronica King, and I'm the planner for the AT&T Tier 3A Telecom Facility at Cathedral Oaks Road project. The subject property is a 48.45 acre parcel located at 6600 Cathedral Oaks Road in the Eastern Toledo Valley Community Plan area. The site is zoned Ag 2 and is currently developed with lemon and avocado orchards, as well as 2 existing telecom facilities, including T-Mobile and Verizon Wireless. Access to the site is provided by an existing driveway off Cathedral Oaks Road. The proposed project is a request for a minor conditional use permit to allow the construction and operation of an unmanned wireless telecom facility. The facility includes a water tank support structure approximately 36 feet in height, with 15 panel antennas and associated equipment, and a new 45 square foot walk-in equipment cabinet with a 20 kilowatt backup generator and 2 GPS antennas. All ground equipment will be located within a new lease area of approximately 330 square feet, surrounded by an 8-foot tall chain link fence, and the water tower will be located within a new lease area of approximately 530 square feet for a total lease area of 860 square feet. No grading or tree removals are proposed. Electrical service for the facility will be provided by Southern California Edison. The project is consistent with all applicable policies and ordinance requirements in the LEDC and the comprehensive plan. Staff recommends that you make the required findings for approval, determine the project is exempt from environmental review, and grant approval of the project subject to the conditions of approval. This concludes staff's presentation. Staff and the applicant are available to answer any questions.
Thank you very much, Ms. King. Mr. Ambrose, can I have you come up to the podium, please?
Good morning. My name is Jerry Ambrose. I'm the applicant. I don't have anything to add to Veronica's presentation. I'm here to answer any questions. The property owner might be on the phone to ask some questions. I'm not sure, but I don't have anything else to add.
Miss,
Excuse me? Oh, no. I did just, I don't have anything else to add.
can you show who's online? Thank you very much, Mr. Ambrose. So have you had an opportunity to review the conditions of approval that Ms. King is recommending on
Yes,
this
I'm in
project?
agreement.
And did you speak to both, well, I guess yourself and the owner about the conditions? Because there are some conditions that you guys are jointly liable for.
Right, they're standard in what I've seen in other cases, so.
Right.
yes.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Mr. Martin, is there any request to speak on this?
If anybody would like to make a public comment on this item, please raise your hand in the chat. We did receive one letter from Ashley Nagoka. I just wanted to acknowledge that letter that's in the box file.
Thank you very much. I did see that public comment letter. Ms. King, I assume you have as well? And would you like to address that?
Sure, I can address all of her points if you'd like.
Sure.
Okay. I'm not going to read each sentence, but I'll start with the health and safety concern. My response: the Federal Communications Commission strictly regulates telecom facilities to ensure they meet national safety standards for radio frequency emissions, which are based on extensive scientific research and public health guidelines. The proposed facility fully complies with all FCC safety, reliability, and environmental regulations. A radio frequency emission compliance report prepared by GCB Services confirms that the facility will operate well within FCC safety limits when recommended signage and access restrictions are implemented. To ensure continued compliance, measurements will also be required within 30 days of final building clearance and every 5 years thereafter. That was her first concern. The second is pertaining to property values. My response is that the project was subject to design review by SBAR, which focuses on design quality, compatibility, and compliance with adopted standards. The proposed telecom facility is a permitted use in the Ag 2 zone district and is located on a 48.45 acre agricultural parcel, more than 800 feet from the nearest residentially zoned property, providing substantial separation. The water tower design was selected to blend with the site's rural and agricultural character and was found by SBAR to be visually compatible with the surrounding development. Her third concern is pertaining to the aesthetic and environmental impact. My response is that the proposed water tower is designed to blend with the area's rural and agricultural character. And again, SBAR found it visually compatible and preferable to alternatives. Existing orchards, trees, and topography provide screening, and the facility's small footprint minimizes impacts while complying with all visual resource and environmental protection standards. So.
Thank you very much, Ms. King. So my final question to you is, based on your responses, do we have to revise any of the findings that you have presented?
No.
All right, thank you. All right, Mr. Martin, I don't have any further questions for the applicant or for Ms. King. And seeing that there's nobody else wanting to make any kind of public comment, I'll go ahead and close out the public hearing for this item. And I'll make the required findings for this project as specified in attachment A of the staff report, including the CEQA findings. And I do determine that this project is exempt from CEQA pursuant to CEQA guidelines section 15303, as outlined in the notice of exemption included as attachment C of the staff report. And I approve this project case numbers 23 CUP 0005, subject to the conditions of approval included as attachment B of the staff report. Thank you very much, Ms. King. Mr. Ambrose, thank you. Mr. Martin, next final item.
Yes, okay, item 325 RMM-00002, Phillips Recorded Map Modification. Hearing on the request of Christopher Phillips, property owner, to consider the following case number 25 RMM-00002, and to determine the project is exempt pursuant to section 15305, minor alterations in land use limitations of the state guidelines for implementation of the California Environmental Quality Act.
Thank you very much, Mr. Martin. I don't have any ex parte communications to announce, but I will say that Ms. Brown did prepare a staff memo that has been posted as part of the hearing materials. Ms. Brown, are you ready to proceed?
Thank you, Ms. Liu. Yes, Ms. Lamb will be giving a brief presentation, and then I will add to it.
All right, great. Ms. Lamb, welcome.
Thank you.
All right, you're on.
Good morning, Ms. Liu. My name is Kiana Lamb, and I will be presenting on the Phillips Recorded Map Modification. The project site consists of 2 lots located on La Riata Lane in the Eastern Goleta Valley Community Plan area and is zoned 1E1 single-family residential. The project before you today is a request for a recorded map modification to parcel map number 14844 to allow for the removal of a 50-foot wide geologic buffer and removal of a 25-foot setback from a native grassland area that were included as conditions on the parcel map approval. The map that created the subject parcels was approved under case number 19 TPM 5 on June 15, 2020. The map included a 50-foot wide geologic buffer due to the potential presence of an unnamed fault. Since that time, a site-specific investigation conducted in 2019 by a qualified geologist has shown that there is not an active fault and therefore a geologic setback is not required. Additionally, when 19 TPM 5 was approved, a condition was included to prohibit development in a 25-foot setback from the edge of a native grassland area on site. However, a recent native grassland survey and resource evaluation dated June 24, 2025, concluded that the 0.11-acre native grassland habitat that currently exists on the site does not meet the county thresholds for environmentally sensitive grassland habitat. The report therefore recommends eliminating the 25-foot setback. Recorded map modification findings specified that a RMM can be approved when there are changes in circumstances that make any or all of the conditions of such a recorded final map no longer appropriate or necessary. The new site-specific studies demonstrate that these findings can be made. The project is exempt from environmental review pursuant to CEQA guidelines section 15305, minor alterations and land use limitations, which exempts minor alterations and land use limitations in areas with an average slope of less than 20% that does not result in any changes in land use or density. The project qualifies under this exemption because the proposed removal of the geologic buffer and native grassland buffer will not result in a change to the existing land use or density.
A memo was submitted Friday providing additional information regarding changes in circumstance for the native grassland area since the original parcel map approval. The 25-foot buffer from the native grassland area was based on a development standard in the Eastern Goleta Valley Community Plan requiring a 25-foot buffer from native grasslands. However, the native grassland survey and resource evaluation submitted for the project reviewed the community plan policies and development standards, including the policy requiring a 25-foot buffer, and stated that the policies and standards are not applicable due to the small size of the native grassland area and it being isolated and surrounded by residential development. The memo included revised findings for the project. Staff recommends that you make the required findings for the project as specified in Attachment A of the staff memo dated October 31st, 2025, including CEQA findings. Determine the project is exempt from CEQA pursuant to CEQA guidelines section 15305, and approve the project subject to the conditions of approval included as Attachment B to the staff report dated October 21st, 2025. Staff and the agent are available for questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Brown and Ms. Lamb. Mr. Walton.
Good morning, Madam ZA. Steve Welton from SEPS Land Use Consulting. Appreciate the presentation from McCanna and Willow. I think that they said it very well. I've been the agent for this project since 2007, so the two owners prior to Mr. Phillips and his family who own it now. Mr. Williams owned it before when this project was approved. Previously, he lives adjacent to it. Mr. Phillips lives adjacent to it on the west. And the prior one before that was Mr. Richards, who purchased it from Goleta Water District. My feeling is the biological habitat part evolved from the original pursuit of the parcel map when there was a larger stand of purple needlegrass there. When it was over an acre, I think that there was a negative declaration prepared for that, which just discussed that evaluation and the requirements for setback. I think that kind of got itself into the project when it came back in 2019. I believe that's why it was included. But I agree with what Willow and Kiana said about it. So I'm here to answer any questions you have. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mr. Walton. I do appreciate you being the consistent planner in all of this because we have a source. Because one of the questions I did have was, why did we approve it with that condition back in 2020? And now all of a sudden it's no longer required. So that information is helpful. I did appreciate Ms. Brown's additional analysis regarding the slopes and the necessity to kind of move this project a little bit. So I'm satisfied that there is now a change in circumstances that would remove these two conditions. So I don't have any further questions. Thank you, Ms. Brown, for the memo. That was extremely helpful and well written. Mr. Martin, do we have any requests to speak on this?
We have nobody in our attendees column, and we have received no letters for this item.
All right, thank you very much. Ms. Brown, one final question. Has there been any questions or concerns from surrounding neighbors or anything?
Ms. Liu, I have not received any questions from neighbors.
All right, great. Then I will go ahead and close out the public hearing for this item. And I will go ahead and make the required findings for this project as specified in attachment A of the staff memo, including the CEQA findings. I do determine that the project is exempt from CEQA pursuant to CEQA guidelines section 15305, included as attachment C to the staff report. And I approve the project subject to the conditions of approval included as attachment B of the staff report. Thank you very much, Ms. Brown. Mr. Walton, thank you. Ms. Lamb, thank you for being here. Mr. Martin, that concludes our hearing for today.
Thank you. We are adjourned.